talking to the Executive Director of the Asia Disaster Preparedness Centre. Now, of course, we know through the tsunami they did a great job, but what are they doing when we don't have the disasters? How are they preparing? How are they training? And I guess getting public awareness too. So we'll bring you an update this morning.
Well, it's interesting to talk about the tsunami because a lot of the problems were simply that we weren't prepared.
Exactly.
And so let's hope the next time that one of these things happens, or fingers crossed that we never encounter it, but if it does, that all the work that the ADPC has done will pay off and fewer lives will be lost. Now, Johan's looking at an interesting subject for the Thai Red Cross. They've actually created a merit-making room. And I know the Thai Red Cross, the whole concept of the Red Cross really is merit-making for those who choose to donate blood or donate funds, organs. And so this is yet another initiative that I think is a feel-good factor at a time that we really need more feel-goods.
Indeed. And for those of you who have kids who can't stop playing games, there is a game school called Game School Eureka that has just opened, and it's helping us all with kids who play too many games. It is some years since we've spoken about the Asian Disaster Preparedness Centre, ADPC. We thought we'd take the opportunity to talk to the Executive Director, Dr. Bhichit. Dr. Bhichit, thank you for joining us and welcome back to the program. Last time I think you were Governor of Bangkok and very, very busy at that time.
This is also a busy job as well.
Oh, look, I'm sure.
but not as bad as when I was Governor.
You haven't got 5 million people all at one time every day talking to you, have you? But on a regular
I have the boss.
You have
the boss of 5 or 6 millions.
Oh, well, indeed you do.
Who always want me to do something for them.
And want everything yesterday. Dr. Bhichit, if we can talk about the way that you're set up is to actually give the warnings and then to actually prepare people to be able to support themselves in disaster. As I understand it, for Nagas, which was the hurricane that actually hit Myanmar, what was your role, what part did the ADPC play in that area?
Yeah, that's a very important message I would like to deliver to the public, is that ADPC is involved mainly about the warnings, early warning, plus the preparedness program. The preparedness program involving not only the communities, but involving the national institution, subnational institution, regional as well. So we do the capacity building for those affected societies. And the Nagris situation is that we have the warning forward to the Myanmar government about 5 or 6 days in advance. And they quite appreciate on what we provide those information. But without much plan for the preparing of the community himself, there's not much useful tool to let the people know in advance, because people have been aware also that there's going to be a strong wind and storm surge, and people in the Delta, not only in Myanmar but in everywhere, they thought that this kind of warning is almost every day. How could we relate it to what we have to do after we receive those kind of warning? So the preparedness is that people have to understand perfectly clear that this type of warning is the warning that need their attention to act upon. Or this type of warning is the warning that they don't do much things, just only to make sure that everything is calm and clean. But in the situation like Nagris, the warning should be encourage them to move out from the area.
So should there be actual levels of grades of warning? So like a red alert means go to a higher ground now, an orange alert means something else, and so
it is. It should be something like that. But even though if we have the red warning, so-called red warning,
where can they go?
Yeah, where can they go? Where's the preparedness plan for them? They don't have those kind of preparedness in advance. So there is not much choice for them to do anything. So this type of thing that the ADPC has been involved for the past 23 years, we initiate from the UN agencies WMO, UNDP, UN OSHA was the organization who initiated and set us up years ago. And we were dealing with members countries around in Asia and Pacific, but mostly about the preparedness, not much about the post-disasters.
So, for example, now we have the tsunami towers all along the coast of Thailand. Would you actually, as the ADPC, would you actually go along, have a look at these towers and say, look, they're still not in the right location, they still don't ring out loud enough for people to get away? Is that the role that you would also play?
Not really, because our focus point is government agencies.
Right.
So we do work with government.
But advising to government agencies on what they should do.
Yes, we give them plan, we give them the information, we supervising the training program that we provide those institutional capacity building to the national level, and then at each countries they have to have their own plan of implementing.
So what is the focus that the association is working on now, the Preparedness Centre?
Well, we mainly have 5 focus areas. First of all, we create awareness to the public through information exchange, raising the knowledge and information to the public as well as to the government agencies and the non-government agency as well. Secondly, we'll perform the what you call the experimental demonstration units into practicing disaster risk reduction.
So it's almost
in
like a
the
desktop
communities.
training in a
No,
way.
not just only that.
But you actually go into the area.
In the area
Okay,
and
so
work
it's a
with
physical
communities, yes, along with the government in each countries. For example, we are doing the flood protection in the Mekong Delta along with the government of 3 countries, Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam. This is a project sponsored by the ECHO EU countries and the MRC, Mekong River Commissions. We're working with them in order to provide the preparedness, community involvement into this flood-prone area. This is type of thing that we are doing most. And we work with the community itself. We have the local government, we have the NGO, and the government together.
So where does your funding come from?
The funding mainly comes from the UN agencies, also as well as with the bilateral like the OSAID, USAID, DFID from British agencies, CEDAR. These are also bilateral, but mainly from the UN agencies. UN SCAP also fund us with the supercomputer facilities to do the forecast about the information of tsunamis as well as the hydromet change, severe weather change as well.
So we're talking about natural disasters in the main. But what about if we come to something like avian flu? You still comes under your area.
Of course.
Avian flu, SARS, global warming, we understand. That would be there. So all of these that are coming to us from non-man-made experiences are what you have to worry about.
Right. For example, like avian flu, we are drilling a transboundary between the Thai and Laos. We're performing about how to prevent the spread out of the avian flu if it's happened somewhere in the borderline, how to prevent it from spreading out into countries. And we have another program called the Public Health in Emergencies. We make sure that we train, we help bring in the experts from countries to have the training program to the local agencies about what they should conduct during the emergency area. And also with the hospital in emergency. That is another area that we helping put up the information and training to the local health personnel.
But sorry. No, please.
Yeah, about what you just said about the climate change. This is what we
That's the biggest
focus
issue,
into
isn't
it. Right? We're not just only forecasting about the climate change that will cause a disaster, but we'll focus also ourselves into adaptation of it beforehand of any disaster took place. something like the climate change that took place in Philippines, that affecting the plantation
Yes.
of agricultural products.
And the
We make
erosion.
sure, yes, we make sure that that situation has been informed to the farmers beforehand, and make sure that the farmer know very well that when to have the plantation in place, when to harvest it, because that deal mostly about the food securities, that deal directly with the situation of adaptation, livelihood of the people.
What we'll do is we'll put the number of the website on the screen of the ASEAN Disaster Preparedness Centre, so you can go in and get more information, also the phone numbers too. Dr. Bhichit, thank you very much for joining
Thank you
us on
very
the
much,
program.
Dr. Valerie. Thank you
you.
very much.